What, in your view, constitutes the primary threat to freedom and democracy at home?
Donald Trump. Seriously. Donald Trump uses phrases like, you're going to eviscerate the Constitution, he's going to be a dictator on day one.
Yes, the primary threat to democracy and freedom, according to Joe Biden, is Donald Trump. And according to the other Democrats, who are the actual primary threat to freedom and democracy, since they want to use that turn of phrase, that language. And Joe Biden, his brain, she's a no good. That brain of his, that's a no good, that brain. But when asked by a hack left-wing, commie-supporting fake reporter during a suck-up, tongue-bath fake interview, knowing what the response is going to be, what is the primary threat to freedom and democracy? Donald Trump. That's what Joe Biden said. Now, that might inspire people to plot to kill Donald Trump, since he's the primary threat to freedom and democracy, according to the President of the United States, Joe Biden. Never mind his non-functioning brain. But that's the rhetoric that the Democrat Party has put out there. They've taken a break from burning our cities and looting businesses and torching and overturning police cars and all that good stuff. But they're waving millions of illegal aliens and gang members and stuff into the country to do their bidding for them. Now, I just wanted to share that Joe Biden soundbite with you from an interview. The greatest threat to freedom and democracy is Donald Trump, because a while back, a little over 6 weeks ago, a Democrat, make no mistake about it, named Crooks, tried to shoot and kill Donald Trump, and he did in fact shoot him in the head, grazing his head, a bullet through the ear from his AR-15 style rifle. And yesterday, the FBI had not a regular press conference, because that would be too Western civilization-y or something like that. But they say, we have no idea what his ideology is. Gosh, he searched for information about the Democratic Convention and the Republican Convention. We don't know if he's left-leaning or right-leaning. Well, he did shoot the Republican candidate in the head, didn't he? That should maybe be a clue of some kind. Pretty amazing stuff. And they whipped out a white supremacist. Oh, white supremacist. The Democrats created the KKK, by the way, and every Jim Crow law was a Democrat law. But let's leave that alone for the time being. And let's go to, because there was an interesting interview this morning in the 5 a.m. hour on the Fox News channel with John Gilliam. John Gilliam is a now former FBI special agent. He is a former Navy SEAL, although you're always a Navy SEAL, once a Navy SEAL. So a former Navy SEAL and now former FBI special agent. John Gilliam is an author as well. And John Gilliam was on the Fox News channel in the 5 a.m. hour on the, before Fox and Friends first, they call it. And he was asked about the FBI briefing yesterday that they did by phone with reporters rather than having a regular press conference like normal people. And one of the things that the FBI said, which makes no sense at all, is that Crooks fired on Trump because he was a target of opportunity. Now, it doesn't make any sense. He was Googling ahead of time on the internet about Trump going to this location and having a rally. He's Googling about the podium. That's not a target of opportunity. A target of opportunity is you go to a tower at the University of Texas and you've got rifles with you and there are people walking across campus and you shoot them. That's a target of opportunity. That's random. A target of opportunity is not plotting and scheming and going to a presidential campaign event with your rifle, knowing who if there were like all kinds of politicians there from different parties, and he fired at one of them, that might be a target of opportunity. But in any case, John Gilliam was having none of it either, and this whole target of opportunity thing doesn't make any sense at all. And here is former FBI Special Agent and Navy SEAL John Gilliam on that ridiculous claim by the FBI.
Well, let's start with the fact that they call this a target of opportunity. I think that's the wrong verbiage. I think that this was a target that he chose. He clearly did his research online, looking at all the different individuals that he thought he might want to attack, and he chose this one.
And he went to a Trump campaign event and brought his rifle and slithered up to the roof, and they're acting like it's a big deal. Oh, he used the air conditioning unit to stand on it to get onto the roof. Oh, boy, you've really cracked the case now, boys. That's amazing stuff. The Associated Press with the headline, "Gunman in Trump assassination attempt saw rally as, quote, target of opportunity," FBI official says. The FBI official should be gassed. Well, at least flatulated on. The gunman in the assassination attempt, former President Donald Trump, searched online for events both of Trump and President Biden. Yeah, but he only shot one of them. Looked up information about explosives, and made bombs. Over the last 5 years, and eyed the Pennsylvania campaign rally, where he opened fire last month, as a, quote, target of opportunity, end quote, a senior FBI official said on Wednesday. The FBI is fired, just fired all over the place. Investigators who have conducted nearly 1,000 interviews do not yet have a motive. I think he hated Trump because Trump was a threat to democracy and civilization itself. They do not have a motive for why 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks shot at Trump. He not only shot at Trump, he shot Trump. He was hit by the bullet. See, when somebody shoots at you and hits you, Associated Press style guide, you can say he shot President Trump, not just shot at. You see, Lee Harvey Oswald shot at John F. Kennedy. Yeah, with some effect, I might say. But they believe that he conducted extensive attack planning. Then if they say he conducted extensive attack planning, how can it be a target of opportunity? Including looking up campaign events involving both the current president and former president, particularly in western Pennsylvania, where he used to live before he got shot in the head and killed himself. The FBI analysis of the online search history reveals sustained, detailed efforts to plan an attack on some event, meaning he looked at any number of events or targets. Kevin Rojek, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Pittsburgh field office, told reporters Wednesday. In the latest of a series of briefings on the investigation, I'm not aware of there being a series of investigations, or a series of briefings, rather. Once a Trump rally was announced for July 13 in Butler, Pennsylvania, he became hyper-focused on that specific event and looked at it as a target of opportunity. Yeah, sure, right. Where will Trump speak from? The Butler Farm Show, he Googled. And he's looking for the Butler Farm Show podium and Butler Farm Show photos. So he's doing all kinds of research and reconnaissance, and he's using a drone over the site. That's not a target of opportunity. And to claim this is a target of opportunity is, as John Gilliam, former FBI agent, said, a misuse of the language. Let's go back to John Gilliam talking about Crooks, the would-be Trump assassin.
He did surveillance online looking at the location. He was there with a drone before the event occurred, and he somehow picked the exact fatal funnel and avenue of approach that the Secret Service failed to secure.
The fatal funnel. You know, the fatal funnel is the location. You look left, look right, shaped like a funnel, the range that he has. And isn't that a coincidence? A target of opportunity, John Gilliam.
He didn't shoot from the trees. He didn't go into the crowd that were behind the fence that was not secured and just shoot from there. He went up to this rooftop that the Secret Service failed to secure. So obviously, this wasn't just a target opportunity. Obviously, he was able to gain this knowledge of the Secret Service failure, which always begs to the question of, did he have any other help involved from somebody in the government or somebody who was there that was telling him where law enforcement was or wasn't?
Yeah, a target of opportunity. Yeah, sure. Gilliam, he also had, for years, been apparently making explosive devices and had all kinds of elements that might not be easy to get and so on. And John Gilliam, former FBI.
The other thing that stood out are these explosives, Todd. You don't just get detonation cord off the shelf. You pretty much have to have a license, like a federal firearms license, to go and get detonation cord. That's what the FBI is telling us that he had. And if he got that, how did he get it? And when did he get it?
Yeah, those are relevant questions. And how did he? And did he get those online? Was he robbing someplace? For how long he had been plotting this? And was he plotting to place those explosive devices around the exits to the Trump rally to kill, well, who? Biden supporters? No, Trump supporters. Target of opportunity, my rumpus, John Gilliam.
When you look at the verbiage that the FBI uses in this press release, they also bring up the fact that there was, quote unquote, white supremacy on at least one of the chat rooms that he was in.
Right.
If that's the case, but they say that he wasn't necessarily involved with that verbiage. Why mention that? Again, with Christopher Wray's past comments, with some other press releases that have happened, we always have to ask, why does the FBI secrete these little bits of information in there about verbiage? It's misleading, I think, to the public.
I think it's misleading to the public as well. I honestly do. John Gilliam is a former special agent for the Federal Bureau of Investigation and a former Navy SEAL.
We should have at least some type of understanding, especially when we're looking at the type of explosives that he used and the way they were made. Where did he learn that? These explosives have footprints. So certain people make certain type of bombs. What does that reflect in his bombs that he made? And also on the phones, he had 2 phones, which means that he was communicating. He wanted to keep certain things secret. Why aren't we knowing these things? And again, why is the verbiage that the FBI using making it look like he's just somebody who just picked a target of opportunity, just showed up there? None of the evidence that they're showing displays that possibility.
And why did the FBI tell us before yesterday that they didn't have anything from his social media and his internet activity, and then suddenly they've got a limited number, just enough to say, well, maybe he's, he might have shot Biden. No reason to believe that in reality. And the FBI has lost, if not all credibility, then all credibility. Then virtually all credibility at this point. You know that, and I've got President Trump on this subject coming right up in a jiffy. In a jiffy, that's right, in a jiff. What? You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier uses Oxy technology that helps to quickly destroy a whole lot of viruses and mold spores and odors and much more. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet. It works like a champ. Any smell will vanish in just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Odors from litter boxes, trash cans, dirty diapers, left-wing protesters are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Powerful thunderstorm sends out these O3 molecules that help to seek out and destroy odors. These molecules even go behind and underneath furniture. It's like magic. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. And best of all, you don't have to buy filters and replace them over and over again because it's a self-contained unit. I'm holding one just like this. You can hold one in your hand like this. Start enjoying the fresh, clean air in your home again. Get several Eden Pure Thunderstorms because right now you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for a whole home protection. You're going to get 3 units for under $200. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, your kitchen, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code CHRIS3. That's CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200 because you hang out with me. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yeah, President Trump being interviewed and asked about the assassination attempt. I think you have not heard this. I've got that coming up. And I have an update on Arlington Cemetery. They continue to update. Now the U.S. Army is attacking President Trump. What happened to our country? Anybody see our country around here? I might look behind the refrigerator, see if it fell back there. President Trump, as I mentioned, for some reason, did an interview with Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil asked a strange question. Do you think Joe Biden and Kamala were, happy about you being shot and nearly killed?
I'm not saying that they wanted you to get shot, but do you think it was okay with them if you did?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of hatred. I don't know why. I had a great presidency. We had the best economy we've ever had.
But you're the threat to democracy and civilization itself. That's what Joe Biden said. Donald Trump talking to Dr. Phil.
I'll give you an example. They're saying, I'm a threat to democracy. No, they're a threat. They've weaponized government. They're a threat. But that turned to be like one of their lines, that Trump is a threat. I'm not a threat to democracy at all. They are a threat to democracy, but they would say that. That was a standard line. Just keep saying it. Yep. And, that can get assassins or potential assassins going. That's a terrible thing.
That's exactly right. You say the person is a threat to civilization, to democracy itself.
Everybody it was a standard line for them. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. I'm just the opposite. I'm the one that fixed our military. I'm the one that knocked out ISIS. I did so much. I also took a bullet. But maybe that bullet is because of their rhetoric. It's really nasty rhetoric.
Yeah, I think that would be fair to say when you demonize people the way that the Democrats have. And again, like their boy Gurgle said, a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth, at least in the minds of crazy left-wing lunatics that go around shooting people, and there are a great many of those, aren't there? President Trump is right, and the Democrat Party's rhetoric is honestly the stuff of civil war.
Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle?
The former president is a threat to our most fundamental freedoms. He has openly said he is proud that he appointed 3 Supreme Court justices that overturned Roe v. Wade.
That's a threat to babies living, babies surviving. Is that what that is? Pretty remarkable stuff. Now, again, Arlington National Cemetery, the CNN, which is a Democrat Party front group, and they're going to be fluffing Kamala and Tim Walz. They're pre-taping the interview in Georgia and then airing it at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Now, here's the latest CNN headline. U.S. Army rebukes Trump campaign for incident at Arlington National Cemetery. There are multiple witnesses that say that there was no incident, including Gold Star families, that there was no incident at all. But Hallie Britsky at CNN doesn't seem to mind. And wait a minute, the U.S. Army rebukes Trump campaign? The former president of the United States and presidential candidate right now is being rebuked by the United States Army? When did the United States Army become a political entity and an extension of the Democrat Party? The U.S. Army issued a stark rebuke of former President Donald Trump's presidential campaign over the incident, they don't say the alleged incident, on Monday at Arlington National Cemetery, saying in a statement on Thursday, that's today, that participants in the ceremony, quote, were made aware of federal laws, end quote, regarding political activity at the cemetery and, quote, abruptly pushed aside, end quote, an employee of the cemetery, rather. Participants in the August 26th ceremony and the subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DOD policies which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds. An ANC employee, Arlington National Cemetery, employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside, the Army spokesperson said in a statement on Thursday, neither male nor female. This incident was unfortunate, and it is also unfortunate that the ANC employee and her professionalism has been unfairly attacked. ANC is a national shrine to the honored dead of the armed forces, that's true, and its dedicated staff will continue to ensure public ceremonies are conducted with the dignity and respect the nation's fallen deserve. The Army spokesperson said, well, the incident was reported to the police department at Joint Base Meyer Henderson Hall. The employee in question, quote, decided not to press charges. So the Army considers this matter closed, end quote. Decided not to press charges. It was an assault. And it's a woman. And they're saying that a male member of the Trump campaign physically assaulted this woman, but she has bravely decided not to press charges. Trump was, CNN writing now, Trump was visiting the cemetery following a wreath laying. He was actually at Arlington Cemetery for the wreath laying, and it was during the, but nobody knows how to write or how use the English language anymore. Trump was visiting the cemetery following a wreath laying to honor 13 U.S. military service members who were killed at Kabul Airport's Abbey Gate in Afghanistan 3 years ago. It actually says 3 years ago, but no one knows the English language, and it's CNN, and he wasn't visiting the ceremony following the wreath laying. The wreath laying was part of the visit to the cemetery, but you guys just keep trying. An individual physically blocked Trump's team from accompanying him during the Monday visit. Two Trump campaign officials said. A cemetery spokesperson confirmed to CNN there was an incident. A cemetery spokesperson claimed there was an incident. A report was filed, but didn't provide additional details. So, just crazy. In a post on Truth Social, Trump appeared to suggest the incident stemmed from his campaign's use of photography, sharing a statement from the family members of the fallen soldiers, Marines, expressing their approval. We had given our approval for President Trump's official videographer and photographer to attend the event. It's the family event in Section 60. Ensuring these sacred moments of remembrance were respectfully captured, and so we can cherish these memories forever, the families said in a statement. Also, I should add that a friend of mine, a great Marine Corps family, Maureen, sent me on the subject of Section 60. We've taken many photos there on Memorial Days. We accompanied our sons, Marine Corps officers, who were visiting the graves of their fellow Marines. Nobody seemed troubled by it. The coverage of Trump's visit is disgraceful. Now, if you can go there, Marine Corps family, Section 60, and take photos, and it's not a problem. But if you're with Trump, suddenly the Army under Joe Biden has issues with this. What is up with that? Man, oh man. Yeah. And employees at Arlington National Cemetery are enforcing federal law. Are they sworn law enforcement officers. Is that what we're to believe now? And the Army puts out a statement that is given to CNN quite rapidly, where they misspell and use poor grammar, and the Army rebukes Trump's campaign. And honestly, there's a Arlington National Cemetery employee, a woman who's blocking the former president of the United States and current presidential candidate while he is being escorted by Gold Star family members to the graves of their family on the third anniversary of the terror attack in Afghanistan. And all of this is at CNN, I guess, taken as perfectly normal behavior. And honestly, this woman at Arlington is enforcing federal law. Is that what I'm to take away from that? We live in really peculiar times. I am telling you. Man, oh man. Man, oh Manischewitz. Let's go to, let's see, we want to go to soundbite. What else do we want to get to? We're going to go to soundbite number 10. We've got J.D. Vance, who was on the campaign trail yesterday, and he was in Erie, Pennsylvania. He's running for vice president with Donald Trump. He actually did serve in the Marine Corps and go to Iraq while in uniform in the United States Marine Corps. And he mentioned, Kamala Harris is stealing all of President Trump's ideas. Like, hey, don't tax people on their tips, on their tipped income. And let's build the border wall. Hey, that's a good idea. But she said it was un-American, the border wall. Or was it anti-American? She was against it until she was for it. And there is a long list of things that she and her campaign are now taking from President Trump and from Republicans. And maybe you guys should be involved in peace talks. What do you think of that? Crazy people. But Kamala, who's going to be pre-taping an interview with Democrat Dana Bash later today, along with got to bring the patriarchy with her, got to bring Tim Walz, the white guy, to, in case she steps in it, he can say, well, what she meant to say. And then they'll all laugh together. It'll be great. J.D. Vance in Erie, Pennsylvania yesterday, talking about Kamala Harris stealing all of President Trump's great plans.
Kamala Harris, she's pretending that she agrees with us on everything. And if you look at her campaign the past week and a half, she pretends that she agrees with Donald J. Trump on every issue. She is running a copycat campaign.
A copycat campaign. And she is stealing lots and lots of stuff, isn't she? But that's okay. The news media doesn't notice it. They don't point to it. She can do no wrong. And she'll be fluffed tonight by CNN, the tongue bath. The tongue baths will continue until morale improves. I know, something that should be pretty good. Kamala, on the other hand, was in Hinesville, Georgia, where she went to speak to high school students. It looked like it was mostly adults in the front. High school students, must be Democrats elbowing the kids out of the way. And Kamala Harris, listened to the way that she was condescending to the high school students in Hinesville, Georgia, talking to them like they're a bunch of idiots. And, maybe they are. It could be just like an all-Democrat Party thing or something. But this was pretty wacky with her. And they didn't, once again, Democrats don't know how to use microphones anymore. But here's Kamala Harris at a high school in Hinesville, Georgia.
Your generation, all that you guys stand for, everything you have at stake is what is going to propel our country into the next era. We wanted to come by to remind you that our nation is counting on you. We're so proud of you.
We just wanted to let you know your high school students were all counting on you, and we think you're idiots, and that's why we talk to you like this, because you beep, 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 beep. Again, embarrassment follows her everywhere she goes. Now, this is kind of fun. The Trump campaign has put together and published a list of questions that should be asked by Dana Bash and CNN tonight. Do you think they'll ask him? Probably not, huh? Trump campaign's questions for Kamala Harris. And it's a good idea. It's an amusing idea. And they put together a list of 10 questions that will not be asked by CNN. And now that the Trump camp has put these out, they have to make sure they don't ask anything similar to these questions. It was a trap for Dana Bash and CNN. Question number 1. If you're capable of lowering prices for Americans, when you take office, why haven't you done it in the 3.5 years you've been in office? That's a good question. Because she says when she's president, she's going to lower prices, right? Well, go ahead and do it now. Why wait? It's a lie, of course. And these questions draw attention to that. Question number 2. You say housing affordability would be a day one priority if you were elected. Why is it not a priority now? Fair question. Number 3, you co-sponsored Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. Do you still support these multi-trillion-dollar takeovers of the American economy? I don't think they'll ask that. Number 4, you talk a lot about freedom. No, it's freedom. Freedom. She made that story up about how it was a Martin Luther King story and she lied about it. By the way, yesterday, I think, was the anniversary of Martin Luther King. I Have a Dream. 61 years. I think that's right. You talk a lot about freedom. What about the freedoms of Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, and Joycelyn Nungary, who are all murdered by illegal aliens? You see the lady slashed in the face at Newark Airport, had her nose broken, her cheekbone broken, and her face slashed by a lunatic illegal alien who has been released from jail again and again and not deported by Democrats. And this nice woman was going to a friend's wedding, was at the airport, attacked by an Asian, I think Chinese, illegal alien. Amazing. So they ask you, you talk about freedom of these women murdered by illegal aliens that you waved into the country. Number 5, why did you support executive actions like stopping construction on the border wall and halting deportations that intentionally unsecured the border? And then you cite the long list of people murdered and raped and kidnapped by illegal aliens. You see the gang members taking over an entire apartment complex, and they're Venezuelan gang members in Aurora, Colorado. They're walking around with rifles and pistols in their hands, wearing hoodies in August, and they're gangs from Venezuela that the Democrats brought in. They've taken over an entire, in Aurora, Colorado. Send them to New York City. And question number 6, under your watch, wars are popping up in Europe and the Middle East. Why is that? Good questions. Number 7, why did you conceal Joe Biden's cognitive decline from the American people? Good question. Number 8, you supported the defund the police movement and have said more that police don't mean, you also said more that police don't mean more safety. More police does not mean more safety. Of course, more police does mean more safety. Why do you want fewer police officers? And number 9, you've called for getting rid of cash bail, and your campaign hasn't backed away from it. Why do you still support such radical views? And number 10, drum roll please, you've sent anonymous aides out to claim you've abandoned the radically liberal positions that you've held for decades. Do you think lying to the American people is the best strategy? Those are pretty good. I'd put some good questions down too. For none of these will be asked, and nothing resembling these questions will be asked. We live in a very dishonest time, in a very dishonest country. The FBI says it was a target of opportunity. Might have gone after Biden, too. No. And the first big interview tonight on CNN, they're going to get their best ratings ever. telling you. And there are more illegal alien crime stories that I could get to in the 3 hours that I have, thanks to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats.
I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you.
I worked at McDonald's. I was a student when I was working at McDonald's.
Kamala Harris is going around claiming that she worked at McDonald's. There is a biographer who says he never heard that before she was running for president, never used it in past campaigns. It never appeared. People have found her old resumes from when she was in college, and no mention of McDonald's, and it might just be another fabrication. It's kind of an interesting thing. The Washington Free Beacon has the story on this. Harris's resume, a year after she graduated college, makes no mention of McDonald's. A biographer says there is no reason to believe she never brought it up, and it might just be another fabrication, a folksy fabrication.
When she was young, she worked at McDonald's, and she greeted every person with that 1,000-watt smile and said, "How can I help you?"
I'm telling you, I don't know if I've got time for a couple of minutes. Looks like Frank, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Frank calling from Chicago, Illinois. Frank, I've got very little time, but I wanted to get to you.
Well, I just want to say, like, all the questions that you're saying about Trump, whatever, you put some questions that CNN is not going to ask. Why can't he answer those questions? Although there was only one person on here that was actually a president of the United States, and that's Trump. Mm-hmm. Not Harris. Harris was the VP, the second in command, not the first.
Yeah. What's your point?
He had every chance. So why doesn't he ask himself those questions? All these policies that he's throwing out now, why didn't he do those in his first term? Why?
Well, he did. He secured the border, had the strongest economy, had peace in Europe, peace in the Middle East. Didn't say that the wall was un-American and then go to build it like Kamala Harris is now claiming she wants to do.
He said Mexico would pay for it. Did Mexico pay for it?
Well, give him time, you know. It's still, tariffs and so on, yeah.